December 2014. Dear Mom and Dad, just a quick note before I catch my flight down to Pensacola for flight school. I'm excited about playing my part in America's history, but I'm also a bit nervous. Thank you for everything you've done for me. Oh, and please thank all of our friends and neighbors for the $18 trillion national debt. Hope you got something nice with the money. Iran conducted more A-bomb tests today. God only knows how many nukes they have now. All the more reason, I guess, for the Saudis, Egyptians, and Syrians to get their nukes up and running too. You never want to be the last one in an arms race. Tel Aviv is under daily rocket attacks from Hamas and Hezbollah, and the Chinese are still apologizing profusely for knocking out 15 of our communications satellites when their laser system malfunctioned. They say it was an accident. This whole hyperinflation thing, it's encouraged desperate people to do desperate things. Militias are popping up all over the country. And sometimes it's just more than I can comprehend. Sometimes I just want to say, screw it, and go open a hat store in Santa Fe, New Mexico. But I can't do that now, can I? Because now I finally understand what liberty really is. Even as my grandfather, 6 times removed, marched in the sleet of Trenton with General Washington, the words of the Declaration of Independence were still on his mind. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, and they are endowed by the Creator with certain inalienable rights, and that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Well, self-evident, that means obvious. It's the colonial translation of the modern word duh. I've always understood life, and I certainly practice the pursuit of happiness. But what is liberty? Some say it's freedom. Some say it's a bill of rights followed by a never-ending list of entitlements. That liberty is nothing more than a Christmas stocking you get full of goodies and surprises. Some say liberty is granted by the state. Some say that liberty is equality, justice, and a level playing field. Well, shoot, that is liberty for some, but that is not liberty for me. Liberty is not just something I receive from the federal government. It's not an entitlement that I automatically get. And the beauty of liberty is self-reliance. Liberty is not what I get in life, it's how I live my life. Liberty is not some final destination with a fancy blinking neon sign where we park ourselves and just wait for dinner to be served. Liberty is sometimes dangerous, often treacherous, an ever-barren road that we travel in this God-given journey called life. And once we understand what Burke called the moral obligation, we then realize that the Creator has written life, liberty, and happiness on our hearts. And through free will, we and we alone determine our outcomes. Our outcomes may not be equal. They may not be fair or level or just, but they are our outcomes and ours alone. Liberty is a spiritual road, the moral obligation of each individual to deliver freedom from Selma to Kabul, from Dallas to Darfur, with the opportunity as endowed by our creators to determine our own outcomes. Consequentially, liberty means that if we don't believe in the fatherhood of God, then we can never embrace the complete and entire brotherhood of man. If we don't understand the moral heritage of our liberty, then we may ultimately find ourselves opposing liberation and accepting the equality of tyranny. And the thing is, liberty is not an American value. It's an endowed human condition. It doesn't come from Washington, it comes from God. And our founding fathers simply institutionalized the spiritual concept of liberty in order to form a more perfect union and secure the blessings of liberty for ourselves and our posterity. No, I will not waste this one life I have sitting in the breadlines of mediocrity, waiting for someone to give me something I'm entitled to. Nor will I sit behind a desk and sacrifice my life, my wealth, my ambition, all the while knowing that there are still people out there, freedom-loving people, who need self-determination and are crying, waiting for liberty to be delivered. Millions sit indignant in the breadlines of fairness all around the world. They chant, "Give me what is owed to me, give me that which is mine." And yet millions more sit pinned beneath the ruthless fist of tyranny. And like a wounded child, they cry silently for freedom through the fading tears of lost liberty. Rather, I choose to stand.